If you're a photographer or a videographer and have some sort of a desk setup, listen up. Learn from the mistakes I made because I just wasted a bunch of money by upgrading my computer and I didn't get any performance improvements. You gotta do an audit and think strategically before you throw your money at things like a new computer. So in this video, let's see how we can identify the setup that we currently have, and I'm gonna use mine as an example. What are the weak points and how can you figure out what they are? And lastly, we're gonna talk about some amazing and not too expensive upgrades that is a lot smarter investment for your money to get the performance you deserve. So if you edit everything out of your computer and have absolutely no additional devices, you are golden. Then upgrading your computer is a wise choice. However, if you have some sort of setup, it is crucial that you identify all of the pieces in a play. And to take my setup as an example, until recently I had a MacBook Pro with M1 Pro processor and paired it with an old Kensington docking station in which I have everything plugged in. For example, my BenQ 32-inch 4K editing monitor, as well as this microphone for the Zoom calls, speakers, and some chargers. The keyboard and the mouse are wireless, but the worst of them all is this USB hub with 4 ports for all my external SSDs and the card reader. So since you already know what your workflow is, just draw it out on a paper to understand what devices are involved and how efficiently are you using them, and if you can get rid of some of them or upgrade if necessary. In my workflow, I copy the files from memory cards to my SSDs via the hub. One SSD is for the photos, the other one is for the videos, and then I'm editing out of these devices. I do not copy anything on my computer's internal storage. In fact, I don't store any files on my computer because I believe Mac uses internal storage efficiently when the RAM gets full, so I like to keep it free. Everyone's setup is going to be different, but the key principle is that you actually sit down and do an audit, try to figure out all of the pieces that are connected to each other, and you find your bottleneck in your setup. And it can be literally anything, even as small as a slow cable. If you use my setup as an example, then it is very clear that this USB hub is an absolute trash because it is barely 5 gigabits per second and there are 4 ports. This means those 5 gigabits get split in 4 and the data that I'm transferring through it fights for that one data channel instead of having 4 separate ones. That means the speed drastically decreases and there is no point in wasting money on faster SSDs or a computer. Because as you can see in this example, it takes over 4 minutes to copy the files if I'm using both drives simultaneously, which I almost always do. Obviously, this needs to be tossed, and to be honest, I'm also going to be throwing out the Kensington docking station because of the lack of the ports and just outdated device. It's literally from like 2005 or something. And here's a hack for you. A good way of doing this audit is just talk to ChatGPT, man. Come on. Simply take a look at all of the model names you have, throw it in ChatGPT, explain what your setup is like, and it will give you pretty good recommendations on what a bottleneck is and what are the possible upgrades, and even if it's worth doing them. Okay, this is the most important part of the video where you will see the most benefit. The first upgrade I did was the computer. I just bought a MacBook Air with M4 processor, 1 terabyte of SSD and 24 gigabyte of RAM. Next was the docking station. It actually was ChatGPT itself that told me to trash the USB hub as well as upgrades regarding the docking station. And the recommended one was this one from Ulanzi. The model name is QT03, I believe, and it actually does look really sick. And if I were to buy this docking station instead of the other one, I wouldn't need to have the USB hub in the first place because this one has plenty of ports, and actually the whole setup right now is so simple and efficient. Let's just go over it for your inspiration. So first, I'm using the standard 96 watt Mac charger that is plugged in the Ulanzi dock directly, powering it. Then I use this cable to connect the dock to my Mac, and it not only powers the Mac, it also transfers the data. So I use just one port on my Mac, and also that's the reason I could save a lot of money and buy MacBook Air instead of MacBook Pro, because Air doesn't have a lot of ports, but luckily I don't need them now. Now, as I told you, there are tons of ports on this thing, so you don't need any hubs. In the front, you have the SD card reader as well as the micro card slot, because remember, MacBook Air also doesn't have card slots. You got two traditional USB-A ports that are actually super fast. One is 5 gigabits and the other one is 10, as it's USB 3.2. I use one for the backup SSD with a proper fast cable and the other one for a CF Express card reader. And then there's USB-C 3.2 with 10 gigabits per second speed, where I plug in one of my main SSDs that I use for photo editing, and right next to it is power delivery USB-C port to which the charger is connected. And on the side you have a hub USB-C port where the Mac is connected. Obviously there's a 4K HDMI port to which I have my BenQ monitor connected, and 3.5mm port for the speakers in my case. And so here's the speed test, same files being copied. This time the drives are connected in the dock, and I got at least 3 times faster transfer than when using the old setup, which is super nice. And probably the best part of this Ulanzi docking station is that it has an internal NVMe slot for your SSD. And it has dedicated insane 40 gigabits per second port, and Ulanzi provides you also with a proper 40 gig cable. This one you will want to plug in directly to your computer, and you will definitely max out your SSD speed. I use it as my video editing storage to get the most out of it. And it actually can also work great as an extension of the storage, especially if you use something like Mac Mini. And by the way, this dock was designed not only as a standalone device, but also to fit perfectly for a Mac Mini. You just have to take the top off, buy the Mac Mini enclosure also from Ulanzi, and you got yourself such a cool setup. I'm actually really digging what Ulanzi is doing here with the design, because it's just so cool. Obviously, since you have at least one more USB-C port left on your Mac, you can also use that to have the fastest possible connection. As you can see in the same test, 2 drives were plugged in directly into my Mac, and you can see it's a little bit faster than using a dock. And as the last touch / upgrade, I actually went a bit crazy and got myself also this thing, the Ulanzi Steam Controller D200. I know, nice to have, but it actually has been so helpful and looks so cool. I have it set up for each program to work as shortcuts, for example for Premiere Pro, making the cuts, inserts, or any other hotkeys. And of course I also use it for Photoshop and Lightroom, and when there are no apps, you can have it sort of like mission control, or how do you call it, you know, just quickly open any app. And there are a bunch of customization options, plugins you can get and whatnot. Super cool thing. Also has even more ports on the side, card readers, so you can go absolutely crazy with this. There you have it, no more dongles, simplified setup, everything in one place. And I'm sure there are still areas to boost the performance, so actually really curious to know if you would have some recommendations for my setup, what to work on next. Hope this was helpful. I will leave all the links in the description for the things I have here. Until next time, and don't forget to keep on creating.